Lassie Tales, Chapter 2. Lassie and Opal have a spa day. The park was alive with the chatter of birds and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Lassie's paws danced across the dirt path, her nose sniffing the air for all the wonderful smells of the day. Right beside her, Opal padded along, her steps as light and precise as a breeze gliding through the grass. Lassie stopped suddenly, her ears perking up. Her tail wagged furiously. "Opal, do you smell that?" she seemed to say with her eager bounce. Opal lifted her chin, her whiskers twitching thoughtfully. Then her amber eyes sparkled. She had smelled it too, the unmistakable earthy scent of fresh mud. They followed the smell through the trees, past the sunny meadow where kids tossed frisbees to their dogs, and into the quieter part of the park. Here, the path wound between clusters of trees and wildflowers, and a gentle stream trickled nearby. Finally, they found it. Right in the middle of a small clearing was a large glistening puddle of mud, its surface reflecting the sunlight like a messy mirror. Lassie let out a joyful bark and bolted toward it, her paws skidding as she leapt straight in. Splash! Mud sprayed everywhere, splattering Lassie's soft fur. She wagged her tail so hard it sent ripples through the puddle. Opal stayed on the edge, watching with an amused tilt of her head. "Come on," Lassie's bright eyes seemed to say, as she bounded in circles, her paws kicking up little fountains of mud. Opal hesitated for a moment, lifting her front paw. She glanced down at her 3 legs, then at the mud. Could she? Would she? She looked at Lassie, whose wagging tail and goofy grin made it clear that being muddy was all about fun, not perfection. With a little hop, Opal leapt into the mud. She landed with a satisfying plop, and her sharp movements sent a cascade of mud right at Lassie. Lassie yelped in delight, her tail wagging even harder. "Look at you!" Lassie seemed to bark with excitement. "You're amazing!" For a while, the two friends played like no one was watching. Lassie bounded and rolled, covering herself from head to tail in mud. Opal, graceful and light-footed, danced through the puddle like a ballerina, flicking mud into the air with each hop. Even with just 3 legs, Opal never missed a step. She spun, leapt, and splashed in a way that made Lassie pause to watch with awe. The sun rose higher, its golden rays streaming through the trees. Muddy paw prints crisscrossed the clearing, telling the story of their adventure. Lassie chased a dragonfly buzzing near the puddle's edge, her big fluffy paws sliding every which way, while Opal perched on a dry rock nearby, pouncing playfully at Lassie's tail whenever it swished her way. At one point, Lassie flopped onto her back in the center of the puddle, letting out a happy sigh. Her tongue lolled from her mouth, and her muddy fur glistened in the sunlight. Opal sat beside her, delicately cleaning her one front paw. Lassie rolled over and gazed at Opal. Even though Opal's sleek gray coat was speckled with mud, her graceful movements made her look as elegant as ever. To Lassie, Opal wasn't just her friend, she was her hero. It didn't matter that she had 3 legs. She was brave, clever, and the best mud puddle companion Lassie could ask for. As the puddle began to dry under the afternoon sun, Lassie and Opal decided it was time to head back. They walked side by side, leaving muddy paw prints in their wake. Lassie's prints were big and clumsy, while Opal's were light and precise, but together they made a pattern that looked like it belonged. They passed a group of children playing near the stream. One little girl gasped and pointed at Opal. "Look, Mom, that cat has 3 legs." Opal paused for a moment, her ears twitching. Lassie barked happily and nudged Opal with her nose, as if to say, "You're perfect just the way you are." The girl's mom smiled. "And look how fast she walks," she said, her voice full of admiration. Opal flicked her tail proudly and trotted ahead, her head held high. Lassie bounded after her, tail wagging furiously. When they reached their favorite bench in the park, Opal leapt up gracefully, settling into her usual spot. Lassie flopped onto the grass below, her belly still covered in mud. She rolled onto her back, soaking in the warm sunlight. Today was the best, Lassie seemed to say with her happy panting. Opal, now licking her paws clean, glanced down at her muddy friend. She purred softly, a sound that meant she agreed. Lassie and Opal were different in many ways. One was a playful puppy, the other a sleek and elegant cat. One had 4 legs, the other 3, but none of that mattered. What mattered was the fun they had and the friendship they shared. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, their paw prints faded into the soft earth, a reminder that some of the best days are made not by being the same, but by celebrating how beautifully different and wonderfully muddy you can be.